I've loaded a more complicated circuit. Here we're looking at a common emitter amplifier with no emitter feedback. It's got a voltage source and a resistive load. Coupling capacitors are in situ. The capacitors have been set to 1 microfarad, therefore they've got low reactance at 1000 Hz. The supply voltage of a sine wave source has 0 voltage DC, which will be blocked by the capacitor anyway, 5 millivolts amplitude, and a frequency of 1000 Hz. The supply voltage for this circuit is 10 volts. What I'm going to do now, rather than set up the bias correctly and set up the collector load resistance, I'm not going to set any values. I already know where this should be set. What I'm going to do quickly is run a bias and see where all of the parameters come out. So I go to this menu option, New Simulation Profile, and type in bias. That's the name I've given it. Okay, it's asking for bias 1 because there's already a profile called bias. I now go to bias point. Okay, I don't need anything more difficult than that. Click apply and OK. I always click save, and now I'm going to click play, which will start the PSpice simulator and then return back to the schematic showing me all of the values for the bias point. Okay, so now you can see here we have our schematic. I'll turn on all of the voltages. 10 volts, 19.59 millivolts, 839 millivolts. Here, if we just move that, 10 volts. As you can see, this circuit isn't working very well, certainly not working as a very good amplifier. We would need to design components. Let's have a look at the currents in this circuit. We have 9 milliamps flowing through the bias network. Okay, and also most of that is going into the base and out of the emitter. So this circuit this transistor is so turned on the circuit cannot perform as an amplifier. What we would need to do to design this circuit is to put the collector at the correct DC voltage and then set these two resistors in the bias network so that they operate correctly. You've just done another bias or a bias simulation for this circuit, so you can see what's happening. In another bias analysis, I'll actually show you how we would change things, and just by intuition